fanciful whim of the trendies on the West Coast. By the turn of the century, there was already a 10 to 15-year waiting list. Presidents from Howard Taft to Herbert Hoover were on the membership roster. Not to mention, later, famous war general Dwight D. Eisenhower, later to become president. The roster of the Bohemian Club reads like a who's who of the elite. Look at this photo taken inside the Grove back in 1963. There you'll see Ronald Reagan, and sitting two people over from him, later to become president, Richard Milhouse Nixon. Frankly, we don't know if these men actively enjoy the things that go on inside the Bohemian Club. But one thing is perfectly certain from the evidence. They are forced to go and attend and take part in these activities if they wish to be elevated to the highest levels of the geopolitical power structure. Take George Bush Sr., documented member. And then, of course, there's his son. Now, the last 4 generations of Bushes have also attended the Skull and Bones Society at Yale, well known to be steeped in the occult. Then there's Bill Clinton, a frequent attendee. Upon closer inspection, the entire federal government at the highest levels is infested with Bohemian Club members. And it doesn't stop there. America's private run-for-profit Federal Reserve Bank, from its very inception in 1913, has been run by prominent members of the Bohemian Club. Central Bank Chairman Alan Greenspan was seen leaving the Bohemian Grove only 1 month before he was appointed chairman of the Federal Reserve. He had to be a made man, to be a member of the most powerful cabal on the planet. Historical records are clear from major universities. The Manhattan Project was planned and instituted and run from the Bohemian Club. All of this going on in an atmosphere of bizarre revelry. You're looking at an illustration from a November 1989 issue of Spy magazine. Spy goes undercover with Henry Kissinger, Merv Griffin, and William F. Buckley, Jr. The story was clearly a shill, meant to misdirect the intensifying media coverage that the Grove was getting in the late 1980s. The writer's spin is obvious. They're just masters of the universe, big frat boys blowing off steam. We'll get back to this article later. Because you can clearly see that the mantra in the spin story has been picked up as a front by all the local media. Sure, they're elitist. Sure, they have some bizarre rituals. But what's the big deal? They're just having fun. If that was the case, why would David Gergen, presidential advisor to President Clinton, resign from the Bohemian Club and 17 other organizations when it was revealed in 1993? Organizations like the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group. But it's not just the Washington Times and the Sacramento Bee. You're looking at an illustration from the pages of Parade magazine, February 22nd, 1981. This story was the most accurate and revealing, detailing the so-called mock human sacrifice. Former German Chancellor Helmut Schmidt wrote extensively in his memoirs, Men and Powers, a Political Retrospective, goes into great detail about the secret establishment running the world, the Trilateral Commission, the CFR, the Bilderberg Group, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, the Bohemian Grove, a place that he often talked about being a wonderful hideaway, a place to spend time with Nelson and David Rockefeller, and to talk about world government and steering societies. On page 225 of Men and Powers, he talks about it being one of the most astounding places he had ever visited in the United States, and how that feeling intensified over the years with subsequent visits. The book goes on for page after page discussing the corporate, private, governmental infrastructure of world government. Going back to the Spy magazine spin piece, they have lots of rosy illustrations of drunken establishment types dancing around having fun with the rituals going on in the background. They even admit that they wear bizarre Ku Klux Klan-style robes. And there's even a photo released by the Grove of the ritual being engaged in. They talk about the incredible security surrounding the Grove. And they even admit that a corpse, a sacrifice, is borne across the lake. But it's all in good fun.
Declaration of Independence in school, they say it's racist. Yes, all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When in the course of human events, I mean, come on, people. All men are created equal? How is that racist? Well, that's what the Black Caucus says in Pennsylvania. And the media goes, yes, racist, don't be racist. And, of course, the Black Caucus is being manipulated by their globalist banker masters. It's not even a black-white thing. It's just anything that's good for the country is racist, is backwards, is stupid. Remember the story I read last week? Then we're going to go to your calls. The review of The Patriot out of MSNBC. It's actually a review of the reviews. War of words over The Patriot. Hollywood's horror over conservative family values is the headline. It says, The Patriot is right-wing hogwash bathed in an old, timely golden glow, writes Aaron Berger of the Washington City paper. Now the disgruntled homeschooling SUV buying.
How you doing? Alex Jones. The Republicans have this deal every year where they've even admitted in the papers they burn satanic effigies, run around naked in the woods. Former presidents. It's called Bohemian Grove. We're going to go infiltrate it and get in and document what they're doing.
Where's this at?
It's north of San Francisco, on 2,700 acres. Been doing it for 100-some years. It's even in the Sacramento Bee and papers, but this is how arrogant they are. I mean, they don't admit the naked part, but they burn this thing called the cremation of care, and it's actually Moloch worship, which goes back to Babylon, where they have the great owl and they heat it up inside the Bible, they throw the baby in. They even admit it. I mean, but they don't throw a baby in, they just burn the stuff inside and stand around in like red robes, red Ku Klux Klan robes. Needless to say, we're a little bit jittery, at least I am. Oh, these two know what they're getting into. But we're beating the British media, Channel 4, the national media there. Here he was.
ID, Mike.
And the next time you go, that's Chuck, to meet you. I almost crushed my hand.